Welcome to the Explainer. Okay, so today we're diving straight into a massive structural shift happening in the mining world right now with Greatland Resources and their explosive May 2026 exploration update. For a long time, the wider market basically assumed that Telfer mine was just a declining operation on its last legs. But Greatland is aggressively rewriting that entire narrative. We're going straight to the data, the drill cores, and the financial metrics today to show you exactly how this asset is undergoing a total top-to-bottom transformation. To really wrap our heads around the magnitude of what's happening here, look at this number, a 12-fold resource increase. Back when Greatland acquired Telfer, the legacy operation had roughly 600,000 ounces of gold. Fast forward to these recent updates, and that number has exploded to a staggering 8.0 million ounces of gold, plus 370,000 tons of copper. We're not talking about some incremental little bump here. It's a complete redefinition of the mine's overall scale.
Here is how we're breaking this all down today. First, reviving a spent asset. Then the Pinnacles breakthrough, decoding the underground geology, leveraging existing infrastructure, and finally, the big implications for Greatland.
All right, let's jump right into part one, reviving a spent asset and redefining Telfer's future.
Sean Day, the managing director, recently said this: with Telfer's enlarged resource, along with that already at Havieron, it just shows the potential to underpin a multi-decade mining hub. Now, why should we care about this quote? Because it's no longer just a corporate marketing pitch. Based on the sheer volume of ounces they're pulling up and finding them at around just $5 Aussie a pop, that multi-decade vision is rapidly becoming a reality right there in the dirt.
Look at the stark contrast here. Under the old owners, the main dome open pit literally sat inactive for 8 years. People assumed it was completely tapped out. Fast forward to today, and Greatland is executing a massive 240-kilometer drill program, literally the biggest in Telfer's entire 50-year history, and they're hitting an incredible density of high-grade material everywhere they look.
Which brings us perfectly into Section 2, the Pinnacles breakthrough, and how it completely shattered all those old assumptions.
Okay, this is the absolute game changer. They did a massive step-out drill at the Pinnacles prospect, going down 1,754 meters and just hit a monster, 58.7 meters at 6.5 grams per ton of gold plus 0.1% copper. And nested right in the middle of that, a super high-grade core of 37 meters at nearly 10 grams per ton. Management says this is hands down one of the absolute best intercepts in the entire history of West Dome Underground. And the best part? It's a true width intersection. So this isn't some statistical fluke or weird angle, it's a massive, high-grade reality.
And right here is the actual physical proof pulled from over a mile underground. You're looking at massive pyrite, some chalcopyrite, and quartz veining. It's one thing to see numbers on a spreadsheet, but seeing the actual rock, that really grounds it. The exploration team predicted this exact extension, drilled from the surface, and hit the absolute bullseye.
So how does one single drill hole unlock so much potential? For that, we turn to Section 3, Decoding the Underground Geology, and this massive 1.2-kilometer extension. Before we go any further, we have to talk about a term you'll hear a lot with Telfer, the Lower Limey Unit, or the LLU. Think of the LLU as the absolute prime real estate in this geological neighborhood. It's a high-grade sulfide replacement layer, which is basically the main host structure for the gold. Bottom line, if you find the LLU and it's mineralized, you've found the gold engine.
Looking at these 3D models side by side, you can clearly see the West Dome underground resource sitting perfectly inside that Lower Limey Unit. Now, the massive revelation from that Pinnacles drill hole we just talked about is that it proves this exact same unit extends a whopping 1.2 kilometers to the south. And get this, it remains completely open to the north and entirely untested further south. The scale of this thing just went through the roof.
But finding world-class gold is only half the battle. The real magic happens in Section 4, leveraging existing infrastructure for a huge cost advantage.
Just check out the distance markers on this 3D map. This huge new Pinnacles Discovery, it's sitting a mere 1.5 kilometers away from an underground crusher and hoist that's already fully operational. This isn't some remote greenfield project where they have to burn billions of dollars building a mill from scratch. They have a 6 million ton per annum system that's been running since 2007, literally sitting right next door.
And here is how brilliantly simple the operational flow becomes. Step 1, you extract the high-grade ore from this newly expanded West Dome. Step 2, transport it through new underground drives, which, by the way, they're already 80% finished building, straight to that existing crusher. And Step 3, hoist it up directly into the Telfer mill.
This infrastructure advantage is so incredibly profound that ore from West Dome Underground could actually hit the mill by financial year 2028, potentially even beating their flagship Havieron project to production.
Okay, geology, check. Infrastructure, check. Now let's look at Section 5, implications for Greatland and the ultimate corporate payoff.
Telfer is a literal cash machine right now. In just the month of March 2026 alone, the company generated an eye-watering $260 million in free cash flow. Just let that sink in for a second. They boosted their open pit productivity by 53% using the exact same contractor and fleet, and that kind of operational excellence is what's fully funding this massive expansion.
And thanks to that incredible cash generation, Greatland now commands $1.7 billion in available liquidity. We're talking $1.2 billion in cash, plus an undrawn, 7-year, $500 million facility. They have the war chest to deliver the Havieron build, execute the open pit cutback, and develop these new underground drives. And the kicker? They are doing all of this entirely debt-free.
So what should you take away from all this? Well, the news flow is genuinely just getting started. Look at these massive upcoming catalysts we're tracking. First up, a reserve update in the June 2026 quarter that's going to bake in all this new resource data. Second, they're looking to scale up that already record-breaking drill program from 240 kilometers all the way to 360 kilometers. And finally, the Havieron EPA approval is expected this calendar year. Management themselves said that approval is going to truly fire the starting pistol on the market, fully repricing this asset.
So as we wrap up the explainer today, we really have to ask the ultimate question. With a confirmed multi-decade mining hub, $1.7 billion in debt-free liquidity, and drill results that continually shatter expectations, how high can this newly transformed asset actually scale? That whole spent asset narrative? Yeah, it's officially dead. Greatland has turned Telfer into an absolute powerhouse, and the market is now forced to pay very close attention. Thanks for joining me on this deep dive into the data. Keep an eye on those upcoming catalysts, everyone, because the Greatland story is moving fast.